We are wrapping up a month-long stay in Wilmington, North Carolina. But how did we get here?
And why did we stay here so long? What happened? Well, it's pretty exciting.
Well, not that exciting.
It is exciting.
It's not that exciting.
Exciting in the good way, because the city is awesome. That kind of exciting.
Not exciting in a bad way. It's going good.
Stay tuned.
Staying on the path that I've chosen, straight up. Come my way and I'll see you at the top. 'Cause something's gonna happen in this story, and I can feel it coming, like the rising of the sun.
So we last left you in Conway after we did a 4-night stop there.
Conway, South Carolina.
Yes, which was a side trip off of the ICW off the Waccamaw River. Amazing cruise. I highly, highly recommend it for anyone going up and down the ICW to make the time to do this. It's just...
Little detour up to Conway. It's only 17 miles off the ICW. So worth it.
It's twisty, windy little river, very deep, very passable. 2 transient docks that you can stop at there. $1 per foot per day to be there. Great little historic town, so friendly, so much to do there. There's even a theater in town. And then, we left Conway after 4 nights. And
was back on June 3rd.
Yep. Yeah. And we did another anchorage at Cox Ferry. Again, we loved that one so much and the seclusion there. So we did another stop there before transiting the river.
Waccamaw River again.
So we actually, we stayed kind of late in Conway because, there was like half-price sushi. So we stayed for dinner, did an early dinner before we left.
Yeah, so then only just a couple of miles down to the Cox Ferry Lake, and then got off on an early start the next morning because we wanted to get all the way behind Myrtle Beach. And we were planning to, this was on a Tuesday, so we wanted to do Myrtle Beach on a non-weekend when it's not crazy, and do it in the morning when it's less crazy. And it's a long, long cruising day to go all the way past Myrtle Beach without a stop, because there's not really much in the way of anchorages there until you get all the way up to the North Carolina, South Carolina state line.
Right, and we had the 17 miles to backtrack.
Yes.
So we go backtrack the ICW, then back up. So it was going to be a long cruising day.
But
and it's pretty. It's so cool when you're going through these populated areas where you were cruising past people's backyards.
Yes, all these big fancy houses, and you're their backyard.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's we love that in nature feeling too, but it's really cool to also do that as well. Just a little bit of recreational traffic, wasn't too annoying, and then we went past Myrtle Beach, and then there's an area called the Rock Pile.
It's notorious for cruisers. It is apparently destroyed or ripped the props off of, or damaged the props of many boats, because when they carved this canal, or the waterway, the ICW behind Myrtle Beach, they saved money and only made it so narrow. And then it's a sharp rock edge. It's a rocky area, not mud, like a lot of areas.
Yeah, so they actually had to cut rock out of it.
Yes.
So if you deviate outside the channel, you're suddenly hitting your props on rocks, submerged rocks. And if you're at high tide, you can't see them. We did this at low tide, so we had a pretty good view of it.
You could see the rocks, and you're like, that would really, really suck to hit that with your prop. And what a lot of people do is they see an oncoming boat, and they're like, I'm going to give them space, and they veer off to the side, and suddenly, clunk. Their prop is damaged.
So it's when you enter the rock pile from either side of it, you just call out on the radio, "Securite, securite," announce your boat name, that you are entering from which side, what your beam is.
About 3 miles of...
and then you just announce that, hey, I'm monitoring this channel, any vessels of concern, so that you can negotiate a pass. You go slow, just take it nice and easy.
And don't deviate, watch your charts, stay in the channel. And we've seen so many people share, the rock pile's scary, or I damaged my boat in the rock pile. Was a non-issue for us, so yay, good.
Yeah, so do it on a non-busy day. Call your security out. Be listening for securities coming in, because if there's a large vessel coming through,
there's a barge.
You want to wait before you go through it. Yep. So we got through that, and then we had picked out our anchorage for the night, which was deviating a little bit off the ICW out to Bird Island.
Yeah, Bird Island and Little River, North Carolina. So this is like right on the North Carolina, South Carolina border, where the Little River comes out, and the casino cruises go out into the river, out into the ocean, so they can get in international waters. And Bird Island is on the weekends apparently a huge party area. People raft up and beach their boats and check it out. But again, we were there midweek, and it wasn't too crazy. It was a little bit crazy when we first got there.
And there were some very large vessels because it's an inlet. A lot of the tourist boats from Myrtle Beach that are doing ocean excursions are coming and going, and they don't slow down for anybody.
And this anchorage is right in sight of ocean and waves and everything else. It is kind of tucked behind the island, so it's kind of fun to go almost out in the ocean, divert, and tuck behind the island.
And definitely when currents were changing or there were winds, it gets a little swelly there. We did have some moments where the boat was rocking a little bit. It was tolerable.
And yeah, one of the things we had discovered, I was like, always check around on Google Maps and satellite views and Apple Maps and stuff, is there was like something mailbox in the middle of this island. I'm like, what? Kindred Spirits mailbox? Why is there a mailbox
on a sand dune in the middle of nowhere
with like 500 5-star reviews on Google? I'm like, mailbox 5-star reviews. I had to Google it. It's been there for 40 years. Somebody put it there, and people put their memories and journals in this mailbox and hiked to it. And it's become a pilgrimage point, and it was featured in some famous novel and has been maintained. And so we of course had to go ashore and hike to the Kindred Spirits mailbox.
So it was a nice little beach hike, perfect into our day after a long cruising day,
and a new state,
legs, and a new state,
North Carolina.
So yeah, we hiked out there, saw the mailbox, came back, had some dinner on board. It's a pleasant anchorage. So we got ready in the morning. We actually called ahead. We had seen that there was a town dock in Holden Beach, only room for one, and
maybe 2 boats, depending on the size.
Maybe 2.
One of our size.
It was pretty shallow at the other end of the dock. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not a cruising boat. You basically just call the town hall, see if they have availability. If they do, it's yours. And it's $1.25 a foot plus $10 for electric, and they have a pump out right there at the docks, which is like $5. So it's like, score. We were ready for a pump out, and
it was nice. So Holden Beach, we were able to get the bikes ashore and bike from one end of the island to the other. So I think we got like 20-something miles of biking in.
Yeah, it was all long roads and little bike lane off to the side. It wasn't the most scenic, but you see all these big fancy houses, and it's kind of cool. People name their houses like we name our boats, so it was really cute. There's not much there at Holden Beach. There's a few fish grill sort of places, oyster bars and things like that.
Really, really good Italian ice.
That was
some of the best Italian ice ever.
That was awesome. And then in the morning,
got a beach run in.
Really super easy access to the beach from this town dock. So you just stroll basically across the street and to the beach. So if you're a beach person and you like beach access from your boat, great place to be. But we did a nice run in the morning on the beach, in the rain, actually.
In the rain, yeah. In the rain, right before the Starship launch. I got back on board, why not, just in time to watch the live stream of Starship flying through plasma and everything else.
And as I was taking a shower, a fresh water pump went out.
Oh, yeah.
That gremlin
that's been jumping around our boat. Yes, suddenly no more fresh water, and I had to quickly swap in the spare fresh water pump right there, so we could basically finish the shower. And we kind of do need fresh water.
It's a nice thing to have.
Yeah. So yes, things break on boats. Yay, boats. And foreshadowing, the spare broke just shortly after that.
Yeah, that was crazy. And we had replaced the first one like the day before, and then the spare broke shortly. It's crazy. Something is like, why did 2 freshwater pumps break? That gives me concern.
Well, yeah, they were both. The spare had only been partially fixed. So.
All right.
So yes.
So yeah, and then our next stop was Southport, we're in North Carolina right now.
North Carolina.
Because there is if you're a looper, there's a rite of passage, and you have to stop for porch time with the creatures.
Yeah, so we were told that a kraken would rise up and smite you if you don't pay do porch time. So we're like, who are the creatures, and why do we have to stop in Southport to say hi to them? I guess we don't want to risk a kraken. Maybe worse than our water pump would break, so we better stop.
So within the Great Loop community and also the MTOA community, there's a concept called the harbor host. So these are folks who live along the coast, along these popular cruising destinations, who maybe were cruisers themselves and or are interested in cruising in the future, but this is their way of staying connected to the cruising community. They are hosts. They are there to help if you need things for shore, like getting provisioning. Maybe you've got an emergency or a repair you need to get done, or you just need some advice on the area.
Yeah, they're kind of the local ambassadors in all ways. And one of the legendary harbor hosts is this couple of creatures who had been former loopers and then had settled, and well, actually they had kind of roots there, but they got a house right on the bay in Southport, right on the little harbor with their porch is the view, and
Of the inlet.
of the inlet, and they make it their mission they track on Nebo and they stalk every great looper coming by, and anybody who stops in the marina, even if they they will try to meet you, and that is their goal. Is they host a happy hour basically every day, and or they go out of their way to meet every looper and give them wonderful advice about the stops ahead, whichever direction people are heading.
Yep, they have a packet of information ready to hand out on their favorite anchorages and stops, south and north, about Southport itself, and they're there to help. That sort of generosity just inspires me so much. That's the type of person I want to be.
Yeah. So it was so we were told we had to go see the creatures. And also Southport is supposed to be really kind of a cute, cool town in many, many ways. And we stopped at the pipeline anchorage, which is about 2.5 miles before Southport. It's a good anchorage, very shallow though, so boat any much more draft than why not would not be able to use it.
We consider ourselves about 4 feet.
Yeah, 4 feet. So it's very shallow, but it's very nice and protected because it was kind of brisk winds that day, and there were storms in the forecast.
Right. We didn't even look at the marina for one night stops, unless it's like a town dock and very affordable. We don't tend to like doing marinas for one night stops. Yeah. They're just too expensive when you're coming in late in the afternoon and leaving in the morning. You don't get a full 24 hours. Oh. If we're doing 2 nights or more, that's when we look at marinas. And unless it's the cheap town docks.
Yeah, or if we were going to Southport again, I would actually do Marina and probably do 2 or 3 days because it seems like a cool town and there's more to do. But we're like, hey, we'll do the pipeline anchorage and we'll dinghy into Southport. And actually, the Robert Creech said, hey, come up to my house's dock and that's where you can tie up your dinghy. And so cool, we did it, but it was a 2.5 mile dinghy ride down the ICW.
And we got waked by another boater, and a dinghy doesn't take as large of waves as why not does.
And it was a brisk winds day, so it was a wet, sloppy dinghy ride. So
I showed up soaking wet.
Yeah, we got to town soaking wet,
which boaters are
cool. They're cool with it. But we got some porch time, hung out with Robert Creech. His wife wasn't available at the time, and had a really nice meetup. And then we went out and explored Southport.
And we intended
town with ice cream.
And he says usually around 5 p.m. is when all the other loopers come over. So we intended to stick around town
for the happy hour
and then do the happy hour. But the weather was picking up. It was getting windier. There were storms predicted overnight. In the evening.
And we had that 2.5 mile wet, sloppy dinghy ride back. So we didn't end up spending a lot of time in Southport.
And we did end up going. We did not go to the Looper Happy Hour. No clue if anyone else was there. But
there were like 7 other boats in town.
Yeah. And he literally, if you haven't checked in with him already and reached out,
he goes to the marina every day
and knocks on holes with flags on them. So
yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had to get back to Marina because we had plans. We had actually reservations in Wilmington up the Cape Fear River. We decided to do this other detour up the Cape Fear River to the town of Wilmington, city of Wilmington.
Well, when we decided to do Wilmington, I didn't know it was a side trip off the loop. I thought it was part of the loop. Because we had a very, very kind follower on our YouTube channel reach out back in March, inviting us to visit in Wilmington and offering us local transportation. I'm like, oh, awesome, Wilmington, and that's right on the awesome. It looked like it was on the loop, and it was like, yeah, it's on the coast, okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, because most people, when they do Wilmington, most people who are loopers do Wilmington, because the Cape Fear River goes this way and Snow's Cut goes this way and becomes the ICW continuing along the coast. So most people, if they want to do Wilmington, they go to Wrightsville Beach and they will just take an Uber or rent a car and do 1 day of being touristy coming to Wilmington rather than take the trip up the river to stay in the historic downtown. But we are suckers for historic downtowns
and side trips. So we went up the river, and we had heard enough good things about Wilmington that we knew, and we were ready for a week stop.
Yes.
So we had called the marina here, Port City Marina, and they said no problem with a week stay. Tip: don't book if you're looking at staying for more than a couple nights. Do not book on Docwa.
Call the marina
unless they're giving you a great rate for a weekly. Usually they only do daily rates on Docwa. So when I put in the reservation for a week on Docwa, it was giving me the price of what it would have been for 7 individual days, basically at like $14 a foot for a week stay. But their website said they had a weekly rate. So you called?
Yeah, called and they're like, yeah, weekly rate. Yeah, but it was a much better deal.
It's like $8. a week. So it's like, almost half the price of what Daco was.
Yeah,
so
and
that was
they're
worth a call right there.
And they could assure us that, you can stay a week, and if you want to stay later, you can stay a couple days later before your slip is taken. So they said we could stay until this July 16th, I think it was something like that. So we're like, cool, we might want to extend a couple days. A week is probably enough to see Wilmington. Let's go up the river. We had a beautiful cruise up the Cape Fear River, which can sometimes be rough.
We timed it with the tide coming in. The dockmaster had told us to arrive at noon, which was high tide, because there are some shallow spots in the marina
that is the downside of the marina.
They have not dredged yet, so it is silting in here. And he says, arrive at high tide, so there's no issues. And so we timed it. We left at like 8 in the morning because it's supposed to be like a 4-hour cruise. Well, the current was
upriver,
was like giving us a 3 or 4 knot burst, and every one of our apps was giving us this estimation that we're coming in at 10:30, not noon. And we even cut it back to like 1,000 RPM. So we're just basically putzing along, and we're still doing 9 or 10 knots.
Yeah, it was a beautiful calm cruise. We had perfect conditions and more current than was forecast, actually. I guess because the way the wind, what little wind there was giving us a nice little boost up the river. And along the way, we actually got to cross our wake, sort of.
Yeah, we crossed our wake with our bus.
Yes.
We have just crossed our wake on the
Zephyr.
Great Loop.
No, not a Great Loop wake.
We are on the Great Loop, and we crossed our wake. But it's a wake made by our bus Zephyr when we were boat shopping, and we took the Fort Fisher ferry from there to Southport.
So actually, it was the ferry's wake we just crossed. But it's kind of cool.
It was our bus's wake.
So how often do you get to cross the wake of your motorhome?
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Well, that was fun. And
So we arrived to Wilmington early, so we just did a little side trip off there's a little
Eagle Island. We went
Yeah.
anchored behind Eagle Island just to chill a little bit, to make sure we arrived at the proper high tide to get into Port City Marina. That when we arrived, the dock hands were fabulous. Everybody here was super friendly. As soon as we got tied up, somebody who's got a twin of our boat, another Bayliner 4078, they're over saying, "Hey, Docktails, we're hosting a party this evening, and there's live music on the pier." And it's like, and then we met more people, and
met several followers who are here at
Just
the
happened to be
marina. And so we had this instant community here in Wilmington, right at this marina. Dock masters are just amazing. They're so friendly and helpful. And we get out exploring Wilmington. It's a great river walk. The downtown is, all the stuff in the historic downtown starts about a half a mile up over there, and there's so many restaurants and bars and theaters and coffee shops and boba tea and just so much to do. We're like, week's not gonna be enough.
By the next day, after our first day there, and we started putting events on our calendar and seeing how much stuff there was, we're like, we should check and see if we could possibly stay 2 weeks, because they'd only told us a couple extra days were available. So we stopped by the office, and
the slip is open to extend as long as you guys like. It's like, you guys know your town, don't you? People get Velcroed here.
yes, and also, we had boat projects stacking up too, like that water pump we mentioned.
All right, Kiki, let's learn about water pumps.
So our water pump had failed, and immediately after, our spare, which wasn't a new pump, also failed, both with bad pressure switches, which kind of go out. That's this little part up here that says water stop, water start. And I was able to determine that I can use the $20 RV part that was available on Amazon versus the $60, $70 marine part that I would have had to order from Defender and pay shipping and wait for to fix it. The only difference between the RV part pressure switch and the marine one is the RV one has the wires connect here via little connector ends, and I'm getting wet.
You are dripping. Okay, I'm seeing like drips in the...
and the marine one, they're sealed, and the wires are sealed, but they're still on connector ends at the other end of the wire. And it's not like this is someplace that is exposed and immersed in salt on our boat. So Usually, hopefully. So using the
Kiki
different
got bored.
pressure switch is really not a big deal, and we'll actually prepare and fix this other one, get our spare back to fully healthy as well. So fingers crossed, we got a lot of life ahead of us in these pumps, because the motor's just fine. It's this little part is prone to failure, the little pressure switch on the end.
And you board the cat.
I board the cat. Talking boat geek, I don't know. Some people like it. Some people, sometimes you just kind of get really bored by the topic. But
Water pump fixed. Next on the fixed list. Oh gosh, we have a
Everything.
long fixed list.
So we went to the
Finicky.
office and said, can we stay 2 weeks? And they're like, sure, no problem.
But do you know that our monthly rate is just $20? So it's just a little bit more to stay for the month. So let us think on that. Our slip is available. He says, yeah, no problem.
So then basically by the third day there, we come back and said, I think a month might make sense. It lets us put some orders in for parts and do this and do that and tackle a few projects. And I think this town will keep us busy. And we could always
Oh
leave
my
early.
God, has this town kept us busy?
And that we realized also that we met our neighbors and they're like, oh yeah, the town's got a great 4th of July fireworks, everything. Right
here.
Right, basically right there.
In a month, they
Marina.
put us here.
Over 4th of July.
Yeah, okay.
That makes all the sense in the world. Sure, 1 month, we're down, and it has been a full, fast, wonderful month.
We actually had to, at times, say, you know what? We need a day without doing stuff. I think we managed 3 days out of our month here of not having something on the calendar. Whether it was a show that we went to, there's 2 great theaters here with the Thalian, this historic theater that's been kept up. It was like built pre-Civil War, very similar to the Ford Theater. And we went to 2 performances there with the Wilson Theater, which is part of the community college right here.
We saw a symphony there.
There's an open amphitheater theater just right over
Big
there.
Live Nation
And then
concert
there's
venue.
there's a concert shell right here at the Marina where every Friday night there's a concert and us boaters get like front row seats for free. Saturday nights there's another free one. There's restaurants out here. And then
So many
that's
good
not
restaurants.
even going into downtown.
Yeah, and all of downtown is walking distance from this marina, and we've been walking and running and doing a little bit of biking too, all around. Plus, we had access to a car, so we did some provisioning as well. So it's been a very fast.
Yeah,
fun,
you go a little
busy
further.
month.
There's a Trader Joe's. There's a Costco. We did our shingle shots while we were here. So it was just great to have a month-long stop. It's been a great cruise up here. There's been challenges along the way, mechanical things that have broken. And it was just good to be here, take care of some of the things on the boat that were continuing to break. We did set up a flushing loop for the air conditioners.
So yeah, we had bedroom AC was marginal, and it's been getting hot and humid here, so we've been having issues with the bedroom AC. Tracked down a leak in it and realized it wasn't cooling particularly well, so we learned how to do an acid flush with barnacle buster through our AC systems, and it's working great again. Our SUPs, we mentioned in the last video, our stand-up paddleboard had just blown up
So we wrote Rock SUP, which
because
is
it was still under warranty.
and immediately
Yeah.
awesome customer service. Within 9 minutes of us sending them pictures of the burst and destroying the board at their request, they'd
Shipped us a new one.
it shipped. Amazing customer service. They unfortunately shipped us the wrong board, so we had to have another one meet up with us, which they immediately corrected.
They're
and
like, oops, our mistake.
And they let us keep the
Mistake one they
board
sent
for
us. So now we got a small paddleboard and our replacement of our bigger paddleboard. I'm like, okay, so now we have 2 paddleboards.
So Rocks Up, amazing customer service. If you're looking for an inflatable stand-up paddleboard,
They are cheap and
Amazon.
affordable, not necessarily the most highest quality ones, but they really stand behind them. They're on their warranty. So
they stand on top of them actually.
stand
not
on
behind
top.
them.
Yeah, you stand on top of the sub. Okay, good point. Good point. But yeah, so we're excited. We have 2 subs. We got that handled while we were here. Did the AC flush, the fresh pumps. We dealt with. We discovered we had a shredded impeller, so we had some engine maintenance to do. We researched that we said the radar had gone out, so I spent some time researching replacing the radar and dealing with Garmin support. And Garmin's like, well, we could send you a repair unit for $1,200. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm not happy with Garmin. Maybe it's time to replace it entirely, but we did enough research to punt that down the road. We might be going to Bruno in the not too distant future, so I've got a lot of research queued up on that. What else? Yeah, there's a few other boat projects. Kept us very busy.
Always boat projects. Yeah, it's just been amazing nonstop here, and it's been good to have this break to be with connecting with people is the
we had
biggest
friends
part
visit, too.
We had friends. Ann and Elliot came up, who we had anchored with down in south of Savannah earlier on this journey. They live a couple hours away, so they came out for a weekend and spent a weekend with us. We've just been so many people here in the marina, other local followers we've met up with who have come through.
And just meeting cool people everywhere. This town has got such a wonderful, warm, accepting, friendly vibe. And Wilmington has
Yeah.
blown us away. Off
And
the charts.
you know, June was Pride Month, and the town just was decorated out for Pride, and it was just so good to see that positive energy.
All over the place
Yes.
in this town.
Yes.
Super, super great vibes here. And then 4th of July, symphonies and stuff. And so now here it is, July 9th, and we are ripping the Band-Aid off. We are resisting the urge to keep extending here. We're just doing 1 month and are about to cast off in a matter of hours from here.
Yeah, so Wilmington, been a fabulous day. Highly recommend this side trip as well. Be
Definitely
prepared to be Velcroed here. It is one of the Velcro stops.
This is great city, great vibe, and
If-
just the right size.
If we were ever considering settling down somewhere, not that we are, this would be top of our
Wilmington's
list.
up on the list. Yes, it
Is
is. It
made
is
the
a
list.
wonderful place. Great community. So, and then we're about to start cruising again. So,
Yep, our next major stop will probably be Newbern. We're going to take some stops along the way. So, next video might be from here to Newbern.
yeah, well,
Probably.
there's
We'll see.
quite a few interesting things between here and there. There's a lot of great cruising ahead, and we'll see what comes next. Looking forward to going back on the water.
So, we'll see you up the ICW.
Take care.
We create these videos just for fun, and we love having you along for the ride. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, or if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. See you next time.